Yes, girl. So I was talking about identity crisis. We have discussed that. Uh, now there is Cheku. He is talking about that how we are prisoners of war. Okay. He is again talking about his hybrid identity. Okay, let's discuss this. He says, in The God of Small Things, Cheku Kuchama, the uncle of the twins, describes the colonized people as prisoners of war, as a result of which their dreams have been doctored and they belong nowhere. Now, this is belong nowhere means third space. And this is what is said by Cheku, okay? Why belong nowhere? Because neither now they are, when they are hybrid, they do have a personality, okay? Because they have something native in them, something adopted from the foreign culture, which in this scenario of God of Small Things is the Europeans, okay? But Cheku is saying that we are prisoners of war, we belong nowhere. When they belong nowhere, that is the third space of identity. Ohmi Baba, he calls it third space of enunciation. Okay. So Cheku is saying, according to him, it's a kind of war that has occupied their minds, that they have won and lost. The very worst sort of a war that captures dreams and redreams them, a war that has made them adore their captures and despise themselves. Okay. And then this researcher is saying that Frantz Fanon, in his A Dying Colonialism, argues that the challenging of the very principle of foreign domination brings about essential mutation in the consciousness of the colonized, in the manner in which he perceives the colonizer in his human states in the world. Okay, so this is what Frantz Fanon has commented on what is the condition of the colonized, which is described by Cheku in God of Small Thing, that we are like the prisoners of war. We are the colonized people. We are like the prisoners of war who belong nowhere. Okay, why? Because our minds are occupied. Okay. Um, So we find this thing is very much visible in many characters in this novel. This is another post-colonial theme or characteristic, which is there. I was talking about that how Cheku was saying that we are Anglophile. I'm going to read these lines for you. Cheku told the twins, though he hated to admit it, they were all Anglophile. They were a family of Anglophiles, pointed in the wrong direction, trapped outside their own history and unable to retrace their steps because their footprints had been swept away. Now, this is very much symbolic. Checo is telling them that we are lost outside our history. Okay, we are lost outside the history. Now we cannot go back to the history because we our own history. Okay, our own native self. We are trapped and we cannot go back to our own native self. Why we cannot go back? Because we do not know the way. Our footprints, okay, they are swept away. Now we do not know how to go back. He explained to them that history was like an old house at night, with all the lamps lit and ancestors whispering inside. To understand history, Cheku said, we have to go inside and listen to what they are saying, and look at the books and the pictures on the wall, and smells the smells. Now, this is something very much like Jamaica Kincaid has discussed in her small place, Remember Girls? She said that when these colonizers came, they they erased her history and they decorated and their history. Okay, you remember when she talks about the libraries in the small place, she says that how our history was erased, our historical books were erased from the library, and they just brought their own history books and they made their own villains. They presented their own villains as heroes in their history books. Okay, so now we do not have any access to our history. And this is the same point which is discussed by Cheku in here. Cheku is saying that history, he is personifying history And he's saying history is like a whole house, a house in which our ancestors are there, and our ancestors are whispering. What is there in those whispers that they are telling us about our own self, our personality, our traditions, our customs, our religion, everything that belongs to the native. But we cannot even go to that history house, okay? To understand our own history, to understand ourself, we have to listen to them, what they are saying. We have to be able to listen to the whispers of those ancestors who are inside that old history house. But the problem is what? We cannot have access to that history house. Why we do not have access? Because the footprints of our feet, they are just swept away. Okay, we do not know the way to that history house. In other words, now we do not know where to go. We are nowhere. We are in the third space, which is discussed by Homi Bhabha. Okay, so this is something which is very much significant. I wanted to just read it out for you. And then now this is something you remember that I told you that day when Sophie Mall goes there to Iminam, everyone wants to see her. Okay. And the orange drink man and the lemon drink man, when Amu told her that we are going to receive some relatives who are coming from London, how impressed he was. Okay. And now there are some other characters who are impressed that this family is having some guests from London. Okay, so this is here. They sat in silence for a while. This is how when Esther and Rahil are outside and someone is asking them to bring Sophie Mall. Kutapan mortified. Kutapan is the character who is going to ask them to bring Sophie Mall. The twins preoccupied with boat thought. Has Cheku sir's mall come? Kutapan asked. Must have, Rahil said iconically. Where is she? Who knows? Must be around somewhere we do not know. Will you bring her here for me to see? Can't, Rahil said. Why not? Now, listen the answer of a little baby who is just 7 years old, okay? Rahil said we cannot bring her out. She has to stay indoors. She is very delicate. If she gets dirty, she will die. Now, this is how the native is thinking. The white is very delicate to be taken care of, and she will get dirty because the native land is dirty all around. She will get dirty, and that dirtiness of the native will kill her. And ultimately, that is what has happened with Sophie Maud. She really died. Okay. So girls, now if we discuss the whole novel, okay, what we find in the novel is hybridity, okay, which is one characteristic of post-colonial theory. We find hegemony, okay, which is another characteristic of post-colonial literature. We find, what else do we find? You tell me.
Identity crisis.
Identity crisis, very good, which is another characteristic of post-colonial literature. What else, girls? You remember we have done the binary oppositions, that is Occident, Orient. Okay, binary oppositions are very much important in post-colonial theory, like hegemony and hybridity. This is another characteristic. Binary oppositions are another characteristic of post-colonial theory. You know what are binary oppositions? Do you know? Have you done that in your discourse studies?
Ma'am, two opposite things.
Very good. Two opposite things. Now, when like two opposite things like white and black, sky and earth, male, female. Okay. Now, what happens in post-colonial theory? These binary oppositions, in the binary oppositions, one is always privileged over the other. Okay, we know that in all the binary opposition, one binary is having a superior position. Are you getting it? So when we talk about white and black in post-colonial terms, white is superior than black. Okay. When we talk about, now these are the binary oppositions which are discussed in post-colonial theory. Okay. White means the colonizer, black means or brown means the native. Okay. And then there is native and the colonizer. Okay. And then there is object and subject. Who is subject? The native is subject. Okay. Is it clear, girls? I hope. And then there is Orient, which is the native land. And then there is Occident, which is the colonizer's world. Okay. So these are the binary oppositions which are very much present in this novel in the form of object and subject. Okay. Subject is the native who is getting suffered, and especially the character of Velutha. Okay. You remember the character of Velutha, who was an untouchable, and he was beaten so bad by Mr. Matthew that he died in the prison. Okay. So we have binary oppositions, we have hybridity, we have hegemony, we have identity crisis. So we almost have all the characteristics of post-colonialism in this novel, that is God of Small Things. So Arundhati Roy, she has written a counter discourse to tell the empire which is the colonizer, that this is what the colonialism has done with the native. Okay. So in other word, when someone who is inferior, who is subjugated, who is suppressed, like Arundhati Roy, who is also from the native land, okay, when she is talking back as a native, it is a counter discourse, okay. And when she is talking about the native characters, like in her novel, who are the heroes, who are the protagonists, the native characters, she is giving them a central position. Okay. By giving them a central position, she is celebrating the status of native. Okay. What happens in the colonial discourse? Who is getting the central position? The colonizer. But giving the central position to the colonized and talking about their problems, their life, their sufferings, Arundhati Roy, when she is giving them the central position, she is undermining the authority of colonizer over colonized by raising her voice. The voice which is silenced. Whose voice is silenced? The native's voice is silenced. But by giving them voice, she is undermining the authority, okay? And who is the authority and power? That is the colonizer. I hope the novel is clear to you and the post-colonial themes are clear to you. So if you have any question related to the novel and post-colonial theory, you can ask me, girls. Yes, girls, I'm waiting for your questions.
Ma'am, you were talking about the third space. That which character represents the third space? Can you please?
That is Cheku, not completely, but somehow. Okay.
And ma'am, Rahil.
Rahil is not in third space. She's better, but Esta is. But even if Esta is in the third space, that is not because of colonialism. Esta has his own problems. Okay. Those are, yes, the effects of colonialism, but not very much. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Yes, girls, please ask me questions. Or else I will ask you questions. Yes, please tell me everything is clear about this novel to you.
मैम जब कॉलोनाइजर्स को मतलब हीरो एक्सप्लेन किया जाए या उनको जो है सुपीरियर एक्सप्लेन किया जाए तो वो कॉलोनियल डिस्कोर्स होता है, लेकिन नेटिव्स के बारे में अगर बात की जाए तो वो क्या होता है?
That is counter discourse.
ओके.
Counter discourse. So all post-colonial literature which is written by the natives comes under the category of counter discourse. Okay?
मैम इस नॉवल में रेसिज्म होगा?
There is racism, yes. Velutha, the character of Velutha, he is untouchable. And he is even Mamachi herself. And you remember, this is very strange that Velutha's father comes to Mamachi and tells her that my son Velutha and your daughter, they are having some physical relation. And I will kill my son for having a physical relation with your daughter because we are untouchable. It is not something that he doesn't love his son. It is such an obligation in their religion that they consider it a sin. What is a sin? Why an untouchable is having a relationship with someone of high caste. Okay? Is it clear now, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? So this is racism. Anyone else, girls? Yes, please, I'm waiting for your questions. No questions? That's it? So that is it, girls. Next class, inshallah, we'll have after Eid, probably, inshallah, a physical class. And we'll discuss another text. I'll send you that text. Okay? So see you,
Okay, ma'am.
inshallah. Have a Eid Mubarak in advance. Have nice vacations, inshallah. So Allah Hafiz, girls.